To fill out the survey and get your ACV REP credit, go to vision-forward.org/webinars. The entrance word is just.
We're going to do a live demonstration of the Orcam MyEye 2.0 from Orcam Technologies. And this is a really cool OCR device, which is designed for people with a vision impairment. And it also has a number of other cool features as well as OCR. So we're going to be diving in and taking a look at those. Now, you know what they say about doing live demonstrations. Something always goes wrong. So we'll see if we can make it through and demonstrate all of the features without any hiccups today. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Orcam. And I handily have it right here with me. And so this is the device itself. This is the Orcam MyEye 2.0. I will say that this comes in two different versions. There is the MyEye 2.0, and there's also the MyReader 2.0. And the MyEye is the fully featured device. That's the one we're going to be looking at today. It has all of the different features, including the reading aloud, the optical character recognition stuff. Also, it has facial recognition, product identification, color recognition. It can recognize money. So all sorts of different things that it's able to do. So it's really a pretty cool device. Now, you probably will have noticed when I held it up to the camera here that it's extremely small. If I compare it to my finger here, let's have a look. Yeah, so there's my pointer finger, and it's just about the same height as my pointer finger. So really not very large at all. So it's pretty remarkable that they've managed to pack all of the technology into such a small device, especially when you consider some of the other more traditional OCR devices which are on the market. With those ones, you will find that they tend to be a lot larger and be designed to fit on a desk, to stand on a desk. With this one, it has a very unique mounting system. It's designed to go onto the side of a pair of glasses. So here I have some glasses. Here I have an Orcam, and there are magnets. So the glasses actually have a mount on, which you might not be able to see in the camera, but it's a magnetic mount. All we have to do to connect the camera is bring it close to the edge of the glasses, and it hooks right onto there. Now, the nice thing about this system is, number one, you're wearing the camera on the glasses, so it's kind of out of the way, and it's very lightweight, so you don't really notice that you're wearing it. But also, you can connect it to your own glasses. And so if you are a glasses wearer like myself, I could get a magnetic mount, and that would mount onto the side of the camera. And then I could, I could get the mount, it would mount onto the side of the glasses, and then the camera would just connect right onto there. The mounts are actually really easy to put on, and they are just like zip ties. So all you have to do is kind of get the zip ties around and just pull them tight, and then trim off the excess, and you're good to go. One little tip I will give you, though, is that the magnets are designed, well, they're magnets, so if they're the wrong way round, they will actually repel rather than attract. So if you put the mount on upside down and then you try to put the camera onto the mount, then you end up with a bit of a problem. So there's a pro tip for you. Definitely check the correct orientation of the mount before you put the camera on. So in terms of the design then, we have at the front of the device, we have a camera. Again, this might be quite hard to see in the webcam that I'm using for this, but there is a camera in the front of here. There's also two LED lights to provide illumination. At the back, we have a USB charging port. Now, actually, one of the nice things with this is it comes with like a little magnetic attachment and a magnetic charging cable. And so rather than having to struggle to plug in the USB charging cable, it has a magnet. You just bring it close and it latches on and it will charge. And then on the other side, we have a couple of magnets to attach it to the mount. We have a speaker toward the back here. And then we also have the power button. Now, I've actually got a bump dot on the power button at the moment, just to make it a little easier to feel. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the features of this device. I'm going to connect it to my glasses here. I'm going to take off my own glasses. Actually, let me tap on the side to wake this up. Let's see if we get some audio. Hopefully we're going to get some audio through our speaker. There we go. Okay, so on the side of the camera, there is a touch sensitive bar, and using that touch bar, then we can actually operate the Orcam. As well as using the touch sensitive bar, we can also use gestures to operate the device. And both of those methods are very cool. So the touch bar is kind of equivalent if you are a smartphone user or a tablet user. It's going to be very similar to that in the sense that you're able to do tap gestures and you can do swipe gestures as well to do various different things. There's also some voice control options built in as well. So there is a myriad of different ways for doing things. Let's start off by looking at just tapping on the touch bar on the side of the device. I should say as well, the device can be mounted on the right or the left side. And so whether you are right or left-handed, you can get the camera in the correct place. I have some reading materials here. This is just a page of kind of printed text, 8.5 by 11. I'm going to go ahead and look at the text here. I'm going to tap on the side of the camera just once, and we should hear a click, and then it should start to read to me. Hold on a second, let me try that again. I accidentally tapped twice there. Okay, let's try that again.
Cory.
10:08 Friday, May 1st, 201, impaired. A plan will be proposed to address the psychosocial impact of vision loss. A completed assessment report will be provided.
Okay, and I tapped a second time there to stop. Now, if you were listening carefully there, you might have heard Cory's name before we actually heard the text being read aloud. And the reason for that is Cory is actually sat on the table opposite me at the moment, monitoring all of the various different channels that we have going.
I am the invisible person.
There you go. And when we tap on the side of the camera, the type of reading that we get is actually it will read everything, or it will identify everything within its field of view. So it's a very undirected method of reading. What we're basically doing is telling the camera, take a picture of everything that you can see and then tell me what it is. And so with this device, we do have facial recognition, and Cory is saved into the device. And when we took a picture, it saw Cory. So before it started reading the text, it said Cory to let me know he was there. And then it actually read a little bit of my computer screen, and then it started to read the document. So tapping on the side of the camera is just really giving us a general overview of anything that the camera is able to see, and then it will read aloud to me. Now you might notice, and I hope you notice, that it's very fast doing its optical character recognition. And so pretty much once you tap on the side, it's like a second, and then it will start to read to you. And it's very accurate as well. So it definitely has a good OCR engine built into it, which I like quite a lot. Let's take a look at another method of reading. This is going to be the pointing method, and this is one of the things that makes Orcam very unique. It is able to identify gestures that you make. And one of those gestures is a pointing gesture. When I say pointing, I'm talking about using my finger. And there we go, I just pointed. And the camera saw my finger, as it does.
10 a.m.
Okay, so it's just pointing, literally pointing at what you want to read. The camera will take a picture of it and is able to read it aloud to you. The nice thing about this is it's a much more directed method of reading because you're pointing specifically at what you want to read. And so in this instance, when I point to this page of text here, it shouldn't tell me that Cory is there because I'm telling it just to look at the text and not at anything else. Let's give this a try now. I'll hold my document. I'm going to go ahead and point. The camera's beep to let me know it's seen my finger. Taking a picture.
Training offerings. Prerequisite. Full assessment or assessment in appropriate area of training. Low vision training.
And I used a second gesture there to stop the reading. That was a stop gesture, which had my fingers splayed out in kind of like a stop sign. So if a car was coming toward you and you wanted it to stop, that's exactly the same type of sign that you would use there. And it will, when the Orcam sees that, it will know, hey, I've got to stop reading here. And you will have noticed that time that it did not identify that Cory was there because I pointed to the page, and so it knew that I wanted to read specifically on that page. Now, this is a really powerful method of reading because it allows us to point specifically to areas that we want to read and have a much more directed reading experience. With more traditional OCR devices, you have forward wind and rewind options. And so you can kind of move forward through a page of text and backward, but it's not as intuitive for finding what it is that you want to read. And this is, using the Orcam is much more intuitive in my opinion. Now, there is a third type of reading that we can do, and this type of reading is another type of gesture reading, and we're going to be pointing again. But this time, rather than moving our finger away when we hear a beep, so previously what we've done, we pointed, we heard a beep, moved our finger out the way, and it started to read. Instead of moving our finger out the way, we're going to leave our finger on the page. And what this will tell the Orcam is that we want to read from very specifically the area where our finger is. So rather than just me pointing to the page and saying I want to read this page, I'm going to point to the middle of a paragraph, and it will allow me then to read from the middle of that paragraph. And so what will happen is it will start to read from just a couple of lines above where my finger is, and then if I move my finger out the way, it will continue to read to the bottom of the page as long as it's able to see that. Let's go ahead and give that a try. I'm going to hold my document out here. This time I'm going to point kind of halfway down a paragraph that I see here. We'll hear the beep. I'm going to leave my finger on there.
Each day and for beep.
Give it a second. Uh-oh. Okay, so I think
activities of daily living assessment
okay.
or full assessment. Braille training. Effective methods of expressive and receptive communication are essential.
And let me go ahead and stop it there. So that time we started to read from halfway down the paragraph, and then it continued to read. And I moved my hand out the way, and it would have continued to read to the bottom of the page. So an even more specific way of reading, you can imagine how this could be useful, for example, if you were trying to read a bill. If you've got a good idea of where in general the amount that you need to pay is, and then you can point to that area and leave your finger there, and the Orcam will know that you want to read specifically from that area. And there's no other device which is really doing this type of thing. I imagine it must be quite hard to program, definitely beyond my skill level. So they've done a really good job. And because there's no other companies which really have a device which works in a similar manner, then I imagine it must be difficult because nobody else has managed to do it. You know, in the assistive technology field, oftentimes when something good comes out, a bunch of companies jump on board with their own versions, but nobody has been able to do it with this particular device. Let's take a look at reading a newspaper, just to give you an idea of how that works, because that is something which people often want to do. Not sure what newspaper I have here, but anyway, it's your standard format, as hopefully you can see there. And the thing with newspapers, of course, is there's columns of text which are laid out, and there's headlines. The formatting is unusual. But with the pointing ability, we're able to point to the specific column that we want to read. Orcam is clever enough to know that it's a column, so it won't read across columns. It will just read down the column, which obviously is what we want. Let's give it a try here. I'm going to hold out my newspaper. We'll look at a column, and we'll go ahead and point. There's the beep.
The DNC. Will the convention be brokered? Putting my political hat on, there's a slightly greater chance that we'll have a brokered convention, which means more than one ballot than there has.
And there we go, we stopped. So it read that column very well. It was able to identify that there was a column there, and it read it across. Sorry about that. Somebody decided to call us in the middle of our show.
We are absolutely live today.
So you can see there's many different ways of recording, reading with Orcam. And it works very well. It's very fast, it's very accurate, and the pointing gestures really help you to navigate around a page, which is great. One of the things you definitely do have to learn is, number one, how to point to things. Number two, when to use the different pointing gestures, depending on what it is that you're wanting to read. And number three, how to orient your head properly to the text that you want to read. I'd say that might be the trickiest one, depending on the level of vision as well. But I think generally you have to tuck your chin down a little lower than you might be thinking in order to capture the full page. So generally when you're reading, you want to read the entire page of whatever document that you've got. And in order for the camera to see the entire page, you, number one, have to hold the document at the correct distance so the camera's field of view is able to see the entire document. But number two, you also need to orient your head properly to the document. So there's definitely some practice involved there, but you will generally find that somebody's able to put on the Orcam device and then start to read very quickly. And so in terms of just getting up and running, it's very quick. And then the more kind of advanced features, those take a little bit more getting used to, just like with any other device. So that's our reading with the Orcam. Let's take a look. We've been reading documents, regular kind of paper documents so far, but Orcam is also able to read from electronic screens as well. And luckily for me, I have an iPad over here. Let me see if we can get this iPad up here. So I've got an iPad up, and we have a news story on the iPad. Not sure if you're able to see that or not. We have a news story on the iPad here. And Orcam is able to read from electronic screens as well as it can read from paper. And so let's give this a try now. I'm going to look toward my electronic screen. I will point at it. And there's my beep.
A blood test that can detect whether a person's HIV virus has been heralded as an important tool for policymakers. Not only would it help answer.
All right, and there we go. So we heard that it read absolutely fine. Now, the print on the iPad there was quite large, but the Orcam is able to read smaller print as well. Generally, the smaller the print, the closer you will want to hold the materials that you're trying to read. And so just getting used to that as well is something that you will learn as you go along. Orcam is able to read from pretty much, any surface, but it will depend on the contrast of the text, the lighting to some extent, although Orcam does have its own LED lighting built in now, which is nice. Also, the type of font that's used, if it's very cursive, the Orcam might have more trouble identifying it. And one of the things I wouldn't really recommend it for is probably reading from pill bottles, just on the basis that pill bottles, number one, are curved, and the curved surface obviously means that the camera might not see all of the text. But number two, the quality of the text on a pill bottle is usually not the best. And it also tends to be very small. Plus, I mean, with a pill bottle, if you were supposed to be taking 2 pills a day, you take a picture with the camera and it tells you 20 pills a day, and you you trust it, then you're going to be in big trouble, because OCR is never 100% accurate, and so there's always a bit of room for error there. So I generally wouldn't recommend it for that task, but other reading tasks definitely. And also, it's able to read in the distance, and so you could use it to read, for example, a menu board behind a counter. Or maybe a street sign. Say that you were out and about and you wanted to read a street sign, you could use it to read that as well. So it really is an excellent reading companion. I think that pretty much wraps up the reading part of Orcam there. Let's just talk about a couple of, oh no, there is actually one more thing I want to cover here. So I had mentioned the touch bar at the start, and that was one way to take a picture. And we can tap on the touch bar to take a picture and start reading, and then tap on it a second time to stop reading. We can also use the touch bar as transport controls for forward winding, rewinding, pausing, and playing. Let's take a look at that. So first of all, let me show you the swipe gesture that we're going to be using here. And when the Orcam is not reading to me, the swipe gesture will adjust the volume.
Volume max. Volume down.
And so on and so forth. It's just like a swipe that you would use on your smartphone. Getting used to where the touch bar is takes a bit of practice, but once you've done that, then you're good to go. Now, we're also going to be using this swipe gesture to forward wind and rewind, and we're going to be using a double tap gesture to pause and play. So first of all, I'm going to get the Orcam to read to me. Let me get my text here. We'll look toward the column, take a picture. Okay.
The DNC, YAD.
Okay, so I just double tapped on the side when it started to read to me, and we've got this beep to let us know that we're currently paused. I'm going to double tap again to unpause, and then I'm just going to swipe forward and backward just to show you the forward wind and rewind.
Convention be brokered, putting my, there's a slightly greater, this is going to be, we'll have 2 lanes. We'll have the moderate, we'll have 2 lanes. We'll have the moderate lane, and we up.
And there we go. So I just did some swiping back and forth to forward wind and rewind. Now, if you're able to use your pointing gesture, I would say that's probably a better way to scan through the text. But the forward winding and rewinding is there and does work. And the pausing is definitely useful because somebody might interrupt you when you're in the middle of reading something. So having the ability to pause is definitely a big bonus. So with that being said, I think that does cover all of the reading. And now we're going to take a look at some of the other functions. First of all, probably the most basic function, which is the identification of money So obviously we want to make sure we're getting the correct change, but unfortunately American bills are all the same size, and so it can be difficult to know what denomination somebody's given you. So here I have a bill which was kindly
$1.
Oh, there we go. It's kindly donated to me by Cory. I don't know why, but every time we demo the Orcam, I always seem to have to borrow money from Cory to.
That's why I'm only giving you $1.
Yeah, there you go. But as we saw, I held it up and it actually very quickly told me what the denomination is. All we have to do is just look at the bill and it will tell us what the denomination is. So hold up the bill, look toward it.
$1.
And there we go. It told us it was $1. That will work with American currency. I do believe it works with other currency as well, but I've never tried it, so I'm not going to say that for sure. But it does a really good job, and obviously very simple just to look at the bill that we want to be identified. We can also look at some other things to identify them as well. One of those things is products. And here we have a product. And the thing with products is the labels often can be hard to read. It could be a contrast issue. It could be the font that is used. And oftentimes the shape of the packaging is very similar between different products. And so it can present a bit of a challenge. But with the Orcam, we are able to identify products. Now, if we look at the barcode, just like we looked at the bill earlier, with the barcode, if we just look at it, it should tell us what the product is, as long as the product is in the Orcam's database. And Orcam does have, you know, a few thousand products in its database. And so let's see whether this one is one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and just look straight at the barcode here.
Betty Crocker whipped buttercream frosting.
There we go. That was pretty good. So it quickly told me what the product was. I will say that this feature is a little bit limited in the sense that you kind of have to know where the barcode is for it really to be convenient. If you don't know, you can continue to rotate the product until you get a result. But obviously that can be, you know, a little bit tedious. And because it doesn't read instantly, you do have to kind of hold it there for a couple of seconds. That means you would be rotating the product and just looking for a couple of seconds, seeing whether you get a result, and then rotating again, and so on and so forth. So if you've got an idea of where the barcode is, then you're generally, you know, going to have a better result with this. Let's try it with something else here. Here's another product that I have. Okay, let's see if we can find the barcode on here. This is the bottom one, so I'm going to hold this and look at it just like this again.
Instant mashed potatoes home style creamy butter Betty Crocker.
Yeah, it's early in the morning, but that actually sounds quite tempting, I have to say. If we disappear for a few minutes, then you'll know why. But yeah, that works really well again. So there are products in the database, as I said, a few thousand of them. I think this being a modern device, of course, you can update it via software updates, and it does have Wi-Fi built in. I think that you can, that over time, more and more products will be added and will be given to people via software updates. So yeah, it should get more and more comprehensive as time goes on. And it does work well, but like I say, generally, it's going to work the best if you've got an idea of where that barcode is. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I think it's onto the, well, okay, let's try and do this first. We're going to do the facial recognition stuff, but also we're going to try the color identification. I'm a little bit wary about this because it doesn't work great, unfortunately. But let's give it a try. So I've just taken the lid off of one of our food products here. Now what should happen is I should point and leave my finger on the thing that I want the color to be identified. And then it should tell me what the color is. I don't know if it's me, but oftentimes I end up getting results like blank area, or the color won't be very accurate. It'll give me a color, but it won't be very accurate as to what the actual color is. Let's give it a try here. So I'm going to go ahead and hold up this this red. I've got a red top here, so it should tell me it's red, hopefully. And we're going to point at it.
Red area.
Oh, look at that. And they say that things go wrong in demonstrations, but that actually worked really well. So it told me it was a red area. I will say it's a fairly easy color because it's bright red, but it did actually do a good job of that. Let me get one more thing because we seem to be on a bit of a roll here. So let's see what else we've got. Okay, we'll try the iPad here. So the iPad has got a kind of metallic silver back. So I'm going to go ahead and point at the iPad, and we'll see if it can tell me what color this is.
Gray-blue area.
Not bad. It said grey-blue. I would say that's fairly accurate. I think we're on a roll here. This is this is working better than it's ever worked for me before. Okay, we're going to try one more thing. We're going to try my top. This is fabric. I feel like fabric might be more challenging. So my top is a light grey, kind of a whitish grey. Yeah, well, let's see what the Orcam tells me about it.
Gray-blue area.
Yeah, it says grey-blue area again. Not too bad. I would say it's definitely a different grey to the iPad.
1021 a.m.
Oh, wow. That's quite late in the morning. Yeah, so it told me it was a grey area, which is accurate. Not the same grey as the iPad, but at least I know it's grey. So there you go. Actually worked pretty well for us this time, which is cool.
We had a question that I'll have you answer right away, if you don't mind.
Sure, sure.
We had someone asking about the barcode feature. Does it alert you if the barcode is not in the database? Does it say not in database, or does it just stay silent?
I believe it says the product was not recognized. It does tell you. It says something to let you know that the product isn't in the database.
The barcode was seen, but not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I actually think. Okay, so admission here. There is something that I don't know about the Orcam, so I'm going to tell you what that is now. With the old version, you could save products into the database yourself. And the old version didn't actually have any built-in products, and you had to save products individually by yourself. This version has got a database, which makes it more convenient, but I think you can still save products manually. However, I've never done it, and I'm not 100% sure. So perhaps we'll find that out at some point. But yeah, so that could be a possibility, but don't take my word for it.
Stay tuned for another Tech Talk.
There you go. There you go. One thing you can definitely save into here is people. And earlier on, we heard Cory's name being announced when I took a picture because it saw his face. So Cory has been saved in the database. Now, the camera doesn't know who Cory is. That would be kind of creepy. I had to teach the camera who Cory is. And so we are able to save our own database of people. We can take the picture of people without saving their name, and it will still tell us that there's a person there. So it does let us know if there's a person around. We can also set that to an automatic detection. I've got mine set to a manual detection because I don't want my camera constantly telling me, for example, that Cory is sat in front of me now. But you can set it to automatic detection. It'll let you know whenever you're looking at a person. If that name is saved in the database, it will say their name. If it's not, it will just tell you that there is a person there. But Cory is saved. So let's try and take a picture of Cory. He's sat maybe
6 feet.
6 feet, yeah, 6 feet away from me. And we're going to see whether the camera is able to recognize him at this distance, which I think it is because it did say his name earlier. So I'm going to tap on the side of the camera. There we go.
Cory.
And there we go. Now, you might have recognized Cory's voice saying the word Cory. So the reason that happens is the Orcam has a microphone built in. And so when we're saving a person into the database, we actually speak their name. And it records us speaking their name. And then when we next see that person, it announces, it kind of replays our recording. We're actually going to go through this process to see how it works. It's pretty easy. Well, all we have to do is look at the person. We hold our finger down on the touch bar, and it starts to take multiple pictures of that person. And then we let go of the touch bar, and it will ask us to say the person's name. That's when we announce their name. It records it. It plays it back to us. Asks if it's okay. If it is, we can tap, and then that person is saved. So it's a pretty simple process. I'll demonstrate it now to give you an idea. While the camera is taking pictures, the individual can move their head from side to side or pull funny faces if they want, just to give the camera kind of a better series of pictures which represent expressions that that person might be pulling, so that then it might better recognize them in future. Let's give this a try. So I'm going to go ahead and hold my finger on the touch bar.
Face learning. Please keep holding the bar for up to 30 seconds.
Cory is lifting his eyebrows and dropping them in rapid succession. Okay, I'm going to let go now.
Please name the person in front of you after the beep.
Cornelius Ballard.
The first.
Cornelius Ballard.
Touch to confirm adding person. Person learned.
There we go. Easy. All right. So now the only trouble now is we've got two different recordings, which could either one of them could play when we take a picture of Cory. We have the first Cory recording, and then we have the Cornelius Ballard recording I just did. Let's take a picture and see which one we get this time. Cornelius Ballard. Excellent. So we got the Cornelius Ballard. Maybe Cory was raising his eyebrows just then, and it related to one of the pictures that we took when we were saving him just now. But yeah, we saw how that works, and it's actually pretty cool. It's quite fast to save people. They do have to stand in front of you for a short period of time, obviously, while you're taking pictures. But it's pretty fast to save people. And it does a pretty good job of recognizing them, even at distance. Now, that being said, it's not perfect. So things are going to affect how accurate the recognition is. For example, whether the person has changed their appearance. So possibly they have a beard now, possibly they're wearing a hat.
Or a mask.
They could be wearing a mask, that would definitely throw it. Big sunglasses, those types of things that you would expect. So those types of things could throw it off. Also, depending on the lighting conditions, it may not be able to get a good kind of picture of the individual. And also, I have found that it can confuse people. And so, for example, I have Cory saved in here. I could take a picture of somebody else and it might tell me that it's Cory. So, if people have similar facial characteristics, then there is that kind of risk. But all in all, it's actually pretty accurate and pretty cool. I will say with this device, so this is the second version, hence why it's the 2.0. But ever since it came out, they've progressively made it better and better and better through software updates. And that's from the start of the original device. So when the original device came out, it was cool. But as time has gone on, they've added more features, they've improved existing features, and it really is quite an impressive bit of technology at this point, particularly considering the small size of the device.
I have a couple questions for you here that are just coming in the chat so that we can answer them out loud now.
Okay, okay.
Back up on us.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Number one, thanks to Eliza who has connected. She had let us know that yes, you still can add products with the new one.
Excellent.
And also, there's over 1 million products.
Oh wow, I was severely underestimating the amount.
A couple thousand still is part of over 1 million, but
that's true. A small part.
One of you was a little more accurate.
There you go.
Number two, there was a question about cost, and so maybe you want to do that, and then I have one more for you after that.
Okay, so the cost one is always a tricky one because the device is relatively expensive. The Orcam MyEye, which is the version which I'm currently using, is $4,500. That's the recommended retail price on that. The Orcam MyReader is $3,500, and with that device, it's physically identical, but it only does the OCR, the reading side of things. So you don't get the facial recognition, the product identification, the bill recognition. You can also, with this device, tell the time. Let me just quickly demonstrate that. So I think this only works with the MyEye as well. If I just look at my wrist, I don't have a watch on, but if I just look at my wrist, it's another gesture.
The time is 10:05 a.m.
And you heard it told me the time. If I'd left my wrist there, it would have told us the date as well. So the MyEye is $1,000 more expensive, but it does have a lot more features.
We also had a question that I want to address really quick for you too. Is we have a gentleman who's saying that do you have any advice for ensuring that the LED flash isn't used all the time? He said on his it's constantly used, and he noticed that in our demonstration the LED flash wasn't utilized at all yet.
Yeah, so I imagine that that's very likely to be a setting within the settings menu, and we can probably, if you want to give us your contact information, then I should be able to find out the most convenient way of turning that off. I don't know if this gentleman has gone into the settings menu, but getting in there manually or by touch is a little bit weird because you have to hold down the power button and swipe on the touch bar at the same time, and it does require a certain level of coordination. And then there's quite an extensive menu to navigate, but Orcam does also have a voice control feature. And there's probably a way to adjust that with the voice control feature. So the LEDs, the camera, the Orcam, can detect low light level conditions and turn on the LEDs appropriately. So that is definitely a setting, and that's a setting that we have it on. So that's what we need to figure out for you as well.
And I did provide him our email address.
Okay,
So
excellent. Yeah, so if you wanted to get in touch, then I would be happy to find out the easiest way for you to do that. Let me demonstrate the voice control feature while we're talking about it. So if you double tap on the touch bar while the device is not reading to you, then it will actually initiate the voice control feature. And you'll hear a beep, which will let you know that it's ready to receive a voice command. And if you double tap, just remember, if you double tap when it's reading to you, that's going to be pause. If you double tap when it's not reading to you, it will be voice command. So there are certain things to remember like that. If you swipe when it's not reading to you, it will adjust the volume. If you swipe when it is reading to you, it will rewind and forward wind. So just remembering those things is kind of important. But anyway, let's try the voice control feature here. There is a bunch of different commands, including a command which allows you to connect to Bluetooth audio, which we currently have done. I'm connected to a Bluetooth speaker so you guys can hear the Orcam better. But there's also a number of other voice commands. Now, I'm sure Eliza, who is on this call and who works for Orcam, won't be too impressed with me because I haven't memorized too many of those commands, unfortunately. But I do know, I think we can say talk faster and talk slower. Hopefully those are the right ones. So we're going to try and speed up the voice by saying talk faster. So I'm going to double tap. We'll hear a beep. At that point, I can give my voice command. Talk faster. I don't think that worked.
Please talk faster.
Please. I'm doing a live demonstration. Please talk faster. Let's try it one more time. Talk faster. Okay, we're going to try one more voice command here. We're going to try speed up. Not sure if that's correct. Maybe Eliza can tell us what the correct command is and hopefully not berate us in the comments here. Speed up.
Eliza's recommending that we demonstrate tell time.
Tell time?
Yeah.
All right, let's give this one a try. Tell time.
The time is 10:09 a.m.
Well, there we go. Okay, so as long as you know what the correct command is, then you will see that that does work properly. Yeah, there's a list of commands on Orcam's website, I believe, that allow you to do various things. Oh, I think I know the voice command I need. I think it's speak faster. We're going to give this one a try. Here we go. Speak faster. Nope, apparently not. Oh no, we did it! Hey! There we go, we got there in the end. Now you have to bear in mind I have been stuck at home for the last 2 months, so my brain has somewhat deteriorated in that time. So, but we got there in the end. So yeah, you can control various things. Now, I will say that is a welcome feature because, as I said, navigating the menus manually. And to be honest, you don't really have to go into them very much. But if you do need to go into them, for example, this gentleman who wants to adjust his LED lights, then it is easier if there's a voice command which allows you to do that. There were also, and I think these still exist, some commands that you could type out on a piece of paper and then take a picture of to change things as well. And so that was quite innovative. It would be like a specific phrase. You would take a picture of it and it would take you to a certain place in the menu. So they really have thought of a lot of different things. I think that is a fairly full overview of the Orcam. Did you?
Yeah, if you want to do a wide shot, and we just had a couple other things that I think we could talk about.
Okay.
From a little wider angle, but
yeah.
As you're doing that, so Luke, right now, because this is our first Tech Talk Live and things weren't set up the exact way we wanted to, we're moving
Press
our camera
to
now,
shut
so
down.
I will not be invisible any longer. So bear with us just as we widen our shot a little bit here. And Luke, while you're doing that, we had 2 other little questions that came in that we can address. One thing real quick, Eliza just wanted to remind us that they do have an app, and I have installed that app on my iPhone. One of the things I like about the app is it does make doing some of the settings a little bit easier rather than trying to do the swipe gesture and the gesture to get into the menus. A system going into settings can be nice with the app. So that is another option for individuals to control and access their Orcam. The other thing, we had a question of, wanted a little bit of talk of the setup process, getting the device, pulling it out of the box, you know,
Cool.
what your thoughts are on that.
I would be happy to provide that. So the setup process, I think is relatively straightforward. In the box, which is very nicely designed, I might say, you are going to get the camera itself. You are going to get the glasses frame, and currently the glasses frame they're providing, well, actually, because now the camera's over here, let me see if I can bring it over here a little bit, is this kind of black plastic one. I have to say that everybody that I've used it with, it looks really good on them. So I don't know how, but it seems these glasses seem to suit everybody. Now, there's no prescription in the glasses. I should mention. It's purely just plain plastic lenses, and it just acts as a mount for the camera. You also get a number of different mounts that you can use for your own glasses. So if you are a glasses wearer, it comes with mounts to put onto those, and also it comes with scissors to trim the excess off. There is also included the charging cable, which has the magnetic part that will plug into the bottom of the camera. So it just plugs in. There's like a magnetic USB part. In fact, I think the camera comes with it on maybe already. And then it has the wireless charging cable and the head for that wireless charging cable. There's obviously the documentation included in the box. There's a little carry case for the camera, and there is a cloth which you can use to clean the camera lens. I think that covers everything that comes in the box. Now, the devices that I've received have had charge already, but I would recommend just plugging up the device when you first get it. So get the charging cable out, connect the cable to the head, plug it into the wall, and then connect the magnetic cable to the back of the Orcam camera. And it's actually very quick to charge. So you're looking at maybe, let's see, probably like, well, I don't want to give the wrong amount of time, but it doesn't take very long. I would say within an hour, you're probably going to be fully charged, and getting up to like 90% battery is probably going to happen within like 20 minutes or something. So it is pretty fast to charge.
And it's usually, after it's charged, usually about 90 minutes or
yeah, so I was gonna mention have like a downsides section.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So, but yes, the battery life is fairly short on it, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So once you've charged up the device, then you're pretty much ready to go. Now, if you need to put one of those mounts on your own glasses, first of all, you need to decide which side to have it on, and it should probably be the side of your dominant hand, because if you're going to be using the pointing gestures, that would make sense. Then you have to make sure that you're orienting the mount the right way. As I said before, if the magnets are oriented the wrong way, they will repel rather than attract. So definitely check that before tightening. Once you've got it all correct, then you just tighten. It's just like zip ties. You just tighten them until the mount is nice and tight on the side of the glasses, and then trim off the excess. You want the mount to be at the front of the glasses, but not so that it inhibits the hinge, so that you can still close them, but it allows the camera to be right at the front of the glasses, so it gets its full wide field of view. Now, if you are using the glasses that come included, then you don't need to actually worry about that because they already have a mount on them. It's on the right side. Most people are right-handed, so you're pretty much good to go. Anyway, once you've got the mount on, then all you got to do is bring the camera up to the mount. It will automatically connect. Oh no, first of all, you've got to turn it on. That would help. I should have mentioned that. So the power button is on the back. You hold it down for a few seconds. The camera will beep to let you know that it's turning on. While it's beeping, you can just put it on the side of the glasses. So bring it up, it connects to the side of the glasses. And at that point, then you are ready to go. So there's really not too much in terms of the setup. Probably me explaining it makes it sound more complicated than it actually is. It's actually very, very easy. And actually, like, if you buy one online, obviously you're going to have to work through this stuff on your own. But if you buy one from an agency such as ourselves, then you're going to be trained on how to do these things, you know, as part of the price. So generally, low vision agencies aren't there just to sell you something. They're there to make sure that you're able to use it properly as well. And so I would recommend that that's the best way to learn, the best way to purchase if you want to, because that way you're going to get the support that you need.
So we're going to go ahead and open it up here for more questions. Please feel free to continue using the chat feature if you'd like, but you also now can have the ability to unmute yourself. So if you're on the computer, you can use the video controls down at the bottom and unmute yourself. If you are a keyboard user, then you can hold down the Alt key and hit Alt A, or just tap unmute if you're on a touchscreen device. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions if you'd like. Luke, if you might want to put your headset on if you haven't yet.
That would
so
probably help
people.
I do see some more questions in the chat here.
Perfect.
So, well, they're not so much questions, I guess, but Eve says it would help to give time zone. I think that's fair. That would be cool. Rosie Goodrich says there's always something that doesn't work when you want it to. That is definitely true. Yep, and I'm actually surprised at how little issues we've had with our live demo so far. So that's been a pleasant surprise. Let's have a see.
Regarding the time zone?
I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. I
go ahead.
apologize.
Somebody's going to check. Yep,
okay.
Regarding the time zone, yep.
I mean about your meeting, because it said 10 o'clock, but we didn't know what time zone 10 o'clock was. So I kind of lucked out by turning it on around 8 o'clock-ish.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's actually great feedback. Thank you for that. And we will be doing these every Friday for, at least until we get back to work. And so in future,
how long have you been on the call?
Be sure to include the time zone so everybody knows exactly when they need to log on. So thank you for that feedback.
Did you just start at the beginning of the last hour?
We started at 10 a.m. Central Time.
Central. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
They'll always be on Fridays at 10 a.m. Central unless it changes. But we will we will absolutely make sure that the time zone is included within the Zoom info and the invite. Thank you for that.
Thank you. You're beautiful.
Eve, do you have like little kittens at your house or something?
Multiple, I think. There's a little kitty choir going on.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll never know. Okay. Let's see what else.
Mr. Hoffman raised his hand.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can unmute him if he's having an issue. Give me a second.
In the meantime, somebody asked how much time is recommended for training to learn. This is going to obviously depend on the individual, but I would say most people can learn kind of how to use it competently within an hour and a half. And from there, it's then more about practicing to get good with these specific features. And that is the longer term kind of situation. So the more you use it, the better you will get at it.
Howard is unmuted now, but I'm not sure if he has a live mic, or he may have just gotten bored and wanted to put up his hand, but we'll give him a second here.
Okay. Okay, I'm thinking that he isn't there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
Let's move on to the next question. It's from somebody called Krzyzowski, and I apologize for my terrible pronunciation to everybody. How heavy is the unit? I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you it's so light that you don't even notice that you've got it on. And it's weird because you would think, because it's on one side of a pair of light plastic glasses, you would think that it would make the glasses tip to one side, but it doesn't at all. And so it's definitely very lightweight and very comfortable to use. Samina Grimes says there is a device fee, but I'm wondering if there's a monthly subscription fee. If there is, how much is it? No, there is no monthly subscription. All of the processing which happens, believe it or not, happens internally. And so nothing is sent via Wi-Fi or anything like that. Everything happens directly on the device, which is remarkable considering the size of it. And as a result, then there is no need for any subscription fee or anything like that. So although the upfront cost is fairly expensive, it is a device which will last a long time.
Enter full screen. Meeting information button on Facebook drop down. Show my connected time.
We had something from Rachel Gardner saying that she is a TVI with Milwaukee Schools that works with visually impaired students and saying that this has been great information. So thank you very much, Rochelle, I think it is. We appreciate it. And that's the end of the questions in the chat. So now it would just be a case if anybody else has anything else to say. Doesn't have to be a question. If you just wanted to chime in with your own experiences, that would be fine. Or if you want to tell us a joke, that would also be absolutely fine.
You are unmuted by host.
Howard, you are unmuted. I muted you a moment just because your screen reader was coming through, so we can hear you. I unmuted you in case you had something to say. If not, I'll remute you here in just a moment. But I wanted to give you a chance.
We're all about equal opportunities.
We are, especially for Mr. Howard. All right, I'm going to mute.
We tried. Okay, so I think we're pretty much ready to wrap it up, but I will, as promised, just finish by giving a few downsides to the device, because we have pretty much waxed lyrical about it, and it is my favorite OCR device on the market. Part of that is just to do with the physical, part of it's to do with the physical design. It's very discreet, it's very small, and it allows you to sit in your favorite place to read, so you don't have to be tied to a desk. You can sit in your favorite chair and have text read aloud to you, which I really like. And also the other thing that I think is great about it is the speed and the accuracy of its OCR. I think that's fantastic. So definitely a lot to like. In terms of downsides, there really aren't too many to talk about. One of them is the device is fairly expensive. So obviously it's going to be difficult for some to afford. Another one is that the battery life is only about 90 minutes of continuous use. Now that is continuous use, so do bear in mind that that doesn't mean it's only going to work for 90 minutes and you'll have to charge it every 90 minutes. It just means that if you're reading, for example, for 90 minutes straight, then it will run out of battery. Now it does go to sleep when you're not using it. So if you don't use it for a couple of minutes, it will go to sleep, and that will conserve battery. And they do have some very nice accessories for charging on the go as well. So there are definitely options there. But that is a slight downside. Other than that, I don't think, I mean, if you accidentally knock it off the glasses and you don't have the lanyard attached, then it can be hard to find it again. But I'd put that on you for knocking it off your glasses probably. So I don't think that's a fault with the device itself. So yeah, other than that, I mean, it's really quite a great device, a lot of technology packed into a small form factor, and I definitely would recommend it to anybody who's looking in particular for OCR. The other features are nice, but I think the OCR is definitely the major selling point. I do see we have one more question here, so
perfect.
Yeah. So it's again from Samina Grimes, and she asks, can earbuds or headphones be used with this so they can be used more discreetly for students in a classroom? That's a great question. And the answer is yes, it is compatible with Bluetooth headphones. Now, there's no kind of 3.5mm headphone jack, so it is only going to be wireless headphone usage. But yeah, they're very easy to connect. In fact, today, as I'd said earlier, we connected to this Bluetooth speaker so that you guys could hear the camera better. And it's very easy to connect to any Bluetooth device which you have. So definitely, yeah. I think you can also connect it to Bluetooth hearing aids. So if there's anybody who uses hearing aids, that's a nice way of doing it.
I was told by our local rep that it does not connect to all Bluetooth speakers and headphones, just some.
That it does not connect to all, just some. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so maybe if you have a specific brand that you're interested in, maybe reach out to Orcam just to double check that they're definitely compatible. And with that, oh, here we go. Lisa says it connects to all headphones, but only Starkey hearing aids. That's the official word from the top. So hopefully that will elucidate that matter a little better. Okay, with that then, I think we're going to wrap it up. I thank you all for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun for us, and I hope that it's been fun and informational for you all as well. We are going to be uploading this video to our YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/infocus. No, wait a minute. Yeah, InFocus Technology. So let me give you that again where I don't completely mess it up. youtube.com/InFocus in focus technology. And that's our YouTube channel. Now, if you haven't been there, it is a great resource. We have video demonstrations, not live ones like this, but kind of more produced ones on a number of different assistive technology devices. We have maybe like 35 or 40 videos at this point, so we're covering a lot of ground. There's also some on various Windows accessibility features and things like that. We do release new videos there every Friday, and if you like the videos there, then please do like and subscribe, and that all helps. And we will.
To fill out the survey and get your ACV REP credit, go to vision-forward.org/webinars. The exit word is point.